story. This is her story. People, be brave, be beautiful. This is her story. Her story. This is her story. People, be brave, be beautiful. This is her story. Every
Good evening, and welcome to hashtag Her Chosen Story with yours truly, Clivia. This is actually our new season, and I'm so very excited. I'm not going to prolong any introduction, but this evening, it is evening. I have a very special guest. Going to introduce her. I met her maybe 2.5 years ago, and I'm just so excited for her to share her chosen story. All right. Karon is a passionate women's empowerment coach dedicated to helping women navigate life transitions and embrace their fullest potential. With over 18 years of experience in training and development, she combines personal growth strategies with practical tools to foster resilience and well being. As an author and facilitator, Karon inspires individuals to transform their mindset and create positive change in their lives. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Karon up to the stage. If you're watching, give her a hand, give me some snaps. But here is none other than the Affirmation Whisperer, Karon Fayerweather.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you. I mean, we've done so much together, but now here we are actually having you as a guest on
Yeah.
hashtag Her Chosen Story. And, even when we met, you have just inspired me from beginning to end. And I mean, we met in person back it was October. I actually met your mom and sister before even meeting you. And I mean,
Exactly.
just the whole energy. And I was just so excited to share space with you in that workshop that we did, which was such a success. And,
Yeah.
I look forward to so much more to come. So,
Mhm.
again, without any further ado, please introduce yourself to the audience and just let us know, who is Karon?
Wow. I can't say much more than what you've already said in the introduction, but I will say that I am a woman who has experienced a lot, and I am a firm believer that everything we experience in life is preparation for our next, depending
Yes.
on how we receive those experiences, right? So, being a mom of six, actually, two of them came by way of me. The other four came by marriage, but I still
Mhm.
call them all mine. They're
That's
all
beautiful.
adults. I don't have any babies at home or anything like that.
Wow.
But having experienced life, I am a woman of worth, a woman of value, a
Beautiful.
woman of courage, a woman of much wisdom that I try to exercise on a regular basis, right?
Yes.
I am a woman who have dreams. I have dreams that I'm looking forward to them coming to fruition, experiencing them
Amazing.
in a physical way, in a physical
Yes.
demonstration of those dreams that I have. I am a woman who's looking to make impact in many ways. Sometimes we're so focused on the big impact, if you will, that
Mhm.
we lose sight of any level of impact. You can make impact with someone by smiling. You
Yes.
can make
Yes.
impact
It is
by
true.
just holding a door with someone, right? So
Right.
just making impact, period. Being
Yeah.
authentic to who I am first, right? Because
Mhm.
I've done a lot of work in discovering who I am, rediscovering who I am.
Yes.
So being authentic to myself, really making sure that I am serving me well so I can serve others well. I cannot.
Beautiful.
Even when I tried to do it, which I was a miserable failure at, is trying to serve others. I didn't even know who I was. I didn't have any idea of who I was. So that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And I mean, sometimes you would ask that question, who are you? I remember when I was asked that question, I didn't fumble, but I was like, oh, who am I? So to know
Yeah.
who you are and whose you are, it's so, so vital, so vital.
Ooh, you
So
said
I
that
mean,
part
again,
about whose you are. That part about
yes,
whose you are. That is so key because the world we're in now, people are losing sight of the whose you are.
yes,
People are
yes.
losing sight of that because they're getting so caught up in what things appear to be social
Hmm.
media, which
Right.
we use it. We use social media, right? So,
Hmm.
but I do my best to come across, even on social media, very authentically. Um, but so many of us are caught up um, in what we believe to be true,
Hmm.
and we're chasing after that. We're believing
Yeah.
that. We're buying into it when woohoo. So knowing whose I am is
Yeah.
hugely important to me in my journey. Hugely.
Yeah.
Because if not, you will get so lost in the sauce, if you will. You get lost in all the noise, all the there's a word I heard, I think it was a Yana Van Zant that said conglomeration. You'll get
Mm.
lost in all that because there's
Yes.
so much going on. So
So much.
knowing whose you are, knowing who your source is, right? So you can
Hmm.
go back to that source when you're feeling, "Whoa, Lord, I can't take not one more word from somebody else." I
Yeah.
can go
You
back.
have a
I can go.
foundation. Yeah.
Yes, I can go to my
Yeah.
source and get. That's my place of peace, where I can close my eyes and just let it all just wash away.
Hmm.
Have a
Hmm.
conversation with my Creator, my Savior, my God, and I could be completely who I am in that
Right.
conversation. I don't have to put up any fronts. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I had the understanding from my exposure that you could had to come to God in a certain way, in a certain formality, right?
Right.
You had
Yes.
to do this, you had to do that. I have let all that go, and I
Hmm.
come just
Hmm.
as I am, no matter if
Yeah.
I'm broken, if I'm happy, if I'm confused,
Right.
if I'm
Without one plea. Yeah. Yes.
exactly as I am, because my belief is He already knows. My Savior, my God, He, my Redeemer, my source for everything, already knows what I'm going to say before I say it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
me being having that place to go so that I can be reminded of whose I am is very important.
I love that. I mean, you actually led the way to my first question. Maybe next question is your involvement in church or knowing who your source is and whose you are. During your formative years, how did that really influence your current values and life choices as an adult?
Woo! Okay, so church and I have a love-hate relationship. We really do. And I didn't say God, I said church.
Right.
There's a difference, right? I attended church a lot, as most of us did, depending
Hmm.
on your age. I attended church a lot with my family, whether it was with my mom and dad and sisters. I stayed with my grandmother for a short period, so of course there was church with her. Um, my leadership skills, I can say, started in church
Okay.
because you take on different roles and different responsibilities in church, and you learn how to do things, and even oratory, just speaking. I learned
Hmm.
that in church. I got a good exposure with that. I sing. So my grandmother, who also is a singer, she's no longer here in the physical anymore. I
Hmm.
watched her lead songs and
Right.
bring the melody to a song and things like that. So I learned that from her, but I've also had some unfortunate experiences in church as well. So it at a very young age, well, I shouldn't say very, but at a younger age, I had an experience with a leader that was totally inappropriate. So
Right.
it taught me, in that moment I didn't trust anybody. So it broke my
Right.
trust in the institution of church, what I
Hmm. Hmm.
understood church to be,
Right.
and to have that experience, to be from someone in leadership, that was at that age pretty devastating. It was
Right.
It
Traumatizing
was
too.
it's confused. I'm like, wait, we're in church. What are we doing
Right.
here? What's
Yes.
happening? In
Yes.
my later years, of course, people who come to church are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They're not perfect. They are not perfect. All their stuff comes with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we make choices, right? We make choices. So I've learned a lot from my formative years in church that I do apply to my adult life.
To your
I've
current.
learned being a very skilled and advanced facilitator. That started
Mm-hmm.
with me in church, learning to speak and
Right.
learning to. I used to teach Sunday school. I was the
Right.
minister of music. So you, with
Yes.
those skills, it really does prepare you, as I said
Yes.
before,
That's
what you're
so
going
true.
to do later on in life. Right? I never thought I would be a facilitator. I am a skilled, very advanced facilitator.
Yes, you are.
But I can see now where that
Mm-hmm.
started, right? Because
Right.
watching
God had a
others,
plan. God had a
right? He
plan.
has a plan.
Yeah.
Watching others and developing my own technique and expanding on that technique has made me very good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even those experiences that weren't so great gave me some wisdom, gave
Right.
me some wisdom. It put me in a place where the instructions I gave my children when they went to church were
Mm-hmm.
greatly impacted by what I experienced, right? I don't
Exactly.
hold anything
Yeah.
in my heart because I do understand that before we go to church, we're people first, right?
Right. And
I didn't get
understand too that the church is the people. So it's like we're dealing with people, people with people,
ex-
you know? So
exactly, and we bring all of
yeah.
our stuff, our imperfections and everything that we try
Mm-hmm.
so hard to hide from the masses. But when
Mm-hmm.
we let whatever get the better of us and expose ourselves, then we're impacting someone else, right? That
Right.
impact thing goes in either direction. Having done the work, having healed from that experience, I say people are people. People are going to be
Yeah.
who they are. Believe
Yeah.
them when they show you. However,
Mm-hmm.
it's in those experiences many more good experiences than not, many more. Being in the choir, being in the Girls in Action youth group, being in the leadership team, going out in the
Mm-hmm.
community and sharing with others. That's what
Right.
my community, my sense of community comes from that. Being in church
Right.
with my friends, and so I have a whole bunch of great memories, but some that are not
Yes.
so bad. But all of them
Yes.
have shaped me as to who I am now, right?
Amazing.
Sometimes
Now,
even when we,
question for you.
I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Now, I was going to say, even with doing, you mentioned the word community. What community? I know you mentioned, well, you probably didn't mention it, but just knowing you, Florida. What part of Florida? How has that certain part of Florida, even the environment, going out into the community and using those
Ooh.
same skills, growing up in that, overall environment? How has that been?
So I was born in the western part of South Florida, the
Oh,
western part of
okay.
South Florida. This is a part that
Okay.
if you aren't from there or been around some people that have been there, you know nothing
Mhm.
about this area. It's called the
Okay.
Everglades in
Okay.
the Pokey and Belgrade area of Palm Beach County. So that's where I
Okay.
was born. And born in the time that I was born, which was in '63, community was big. Community
Right.
was huge because they supported each other. And if you
Yes.
needed somebody to keep your children, they would keep your children. And whatever's going is it was all about community, right?
Hmm.
Um, we go to church together. Our parents go to work together.
Right.
Our fathers do things together, right? So it's all about community. I live with my grandparents, as I mentioned earlier. My grandfather is like my oh my gosh, he is my hero. He really is. I have
Yeah.
so many great memories with him. My grandmother is my shero. She's my first
Mm.
example of what it is to be an entrepreneur. So
Beautiful.
after leaving that area, went to what is called, I'll just say, for lack of a better word, Metro Palm Beach County, where all
Okay.
the things happen. And this is in
Hmm.
South Florida still. And even there, my parents became involved with the church, where it definitely was attended by those in the community or outside of the community but for the most part, this church was in the middle of the community. So therefore,
Mm.
people from all around came to church, and your
Yeah.
friends you went to school with, their parents were at the church, or you went to their church. So church influenced my understanding of what community is, right? And
Hmm.
becoming community minded. My
Yeah.
parents, my grandparents, they participated in certain activities. I have this very clear memory of during Christmas time, our church was big about going out and singing Christmas carols, and
Oh,
we
okay.
integrated in that to go to the nursing homes to sing
Very
Christmas.
nice.
Yeah. So this particular year, I think I was either the solo lead on it or ended up being the only person. And my daughter and I were at the church waiting for others to arrive so we can go to these other nursing homes because I saw my mom do it. My mom is nearly
Hmm.
80 years old and she still collects items. She has started this ministry of collecting
Hmm.
items for veterans, and she
Wow.
sends it to the VA. And she's 80 years old, still
Wow.
community
Still
minded,
doing that. That's
still doing
amazing.
it. It is
That's good to
awesome.
know. I didn't know that.
Yes, she does. She does.
That's
So
beautiful.
my daughter and I were the only ones there at church, and I said, "Oh well, I guess no one else is showing up. Let's go." She says, "Mommy, are we going to the nursing home?" I said, "We absolutely are." I said, "This
Hmm.
is a commitment we made, and we made a point."
Exactly.
I said, "So we're going to follow through with that." And I think for her, that showed commitment. Follow through
Hmm.
on your commitment, no matter who
Yep.
shows up.
Show up. Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
doing it for those who show. We're doing it for those that we promised that we would
Hmm.
cover. Now, we were going to the nursing home, and I'm singing the Christmas carols, and she's kind of peeping out from behind me. I want her to go ahead and sing, and the residents would say, "Hey, little girl," and she was not
Hmm.
having it. But that's what you do when you're in community and you make a commitment to something. This is what I was taught, that you follow through on your commitments, no matter who shows up, because
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing, especially when no one is looking, speaks to your.
Yes. So true. Even the other day, I did a live reading of my book, and a few people were live, but someone called and they said, "Wow, I'm so impressed. There were only like 5 people in the room, and you made it seem like there were 5,000." I'm like, listen, I don't care who listens, as long as one person could hear me. It says Jesus would leave the 99 to go find that
Yes,
one. But if I can
go
just
find
help
that
that
one.
one person, so that's beautiful. And even for your daughter, I mean, like you said, you have adult children now. So I hope even now she remembers
Mhm.
those days and she would also, do the same. Like we shouldn't care, even with social media, people, they want the likes, they want the
Yeah,
follows, right?
yeah,
But it shouldn't even be about that. It's about being present, showing up is
it
so, so
is.
vital.
It
So
is.
we're gonna take a little shift in regards to relationships. So we talked about, you know, you being a leader. We talked about how the church has helped being, following, let's say your mother, grandmother footsteps in regards to relationship. And I know part of your story. What lessons have you learned from your relationships with men throughout I'm going to read it properly. What lessons have you learned from your relationship with men throughout different stages of your life? And how have those experiences impact your views on love and partnership and even business? Because it all kind of intertwines.
It does. So, the biggest thing that I have learned through the various phases of my life and the relationships I've had is knowing yourself, making sure you know yourself. I think on a podcast that I share with you and Marcy, I mentioned how we go into these relationships not even understanding ourselves first and expecting that person to know what we want when
Right,
we don't know what we want ourselves. What are
right.
they supposed to be mind readers? So, knowing yourself, really, really knowing what you want, have clarity about you. And that's the thing
Yeah.
that I didn't learn that till much later. Don't get it
Hmm.
twisted. I was young and foolish too. I was young and foolish too, but hopefully these words can help someone else not be as foolish as I was. But in later years, I had to take ownership of what I didn't bring to the table, what
Hmm.
I didn't know, how I
Yes.
didn't know myself, how I had no idea of what I truly wanted. So, how on earth could I have the gall, the mitigated gall to expect someone else to know how to take
Right.
care of me, how to treat me, because I didn't know myself. I
Yeah.
literally had no clue. I had no
Yeah.
clarity about I like gifts. I like what is the five love language? I love
Yes.
those words of adoration. I absolutely do.
Yes.
I like just because gifts, right? I
Right.
love
Yes.
communication. I like someone having an intelligent conversation, those sweet nothings. I love all that. Could I have told you that back then? Not at all. Not at all. But having
Yeah.
clarity about who you are, doing
Yes.
the work to heal from the past, because
Yes.
it is not possible to have a healthy relationship when you continue to
Mm-hmm.
bring the stuff from the past into your present relationship. It is not
Yes.
possible. I don't care
So
how
true.
much you mask it. I don't care if you ignore it. It's going to pop up in some other way, some
Mm-hmm.
unhealthy way. So
Yes.
recognizing that you need to heal from something. It may not be anything
Mm-hmm.
traumatic, it could just be disappointment, but because you
Mm-hmm.
haven't acknowledged it, because you haven't taken ownership of what you have experienced and healing from it, forgiving
Mm-hmm.
yourself, forgiving others, and releasing it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If
Yes.
we haven't done that work,
Yeah.
I'll say this again, I don't care how much you try to mask it, it will show its face in one way
Oh,
or
definitely.
another, right? Every time.
Definitely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I've learned, that I need to be um, accountable for myself
Mm-hmm.
and my
Mm-hmm.
expectations. Accountable meaning that I recognize that, oh, if you say this word right here, it's going to trigger me. But how
Right.
do I know that? I got to pay
Yeah.
attention to myself.
Right.
I got to do the work. I got to be very intentional about paying attention. Why did I respond that way when she said
Mm-hmm.
this? Why
Right.
did I respond this way when I heard that?
Yes.
So doing the work and acknowledging, well, dang, man, I'm feeling kind of off right now. Why?
Mm-hmm.
What did you just hear? What did you just do? Who did you just speak with?
Right.
So recognizing that, taking ownership of it, doing the work, now you get yourself all cleaned out of all the baggage, right? That song Erica Badu has about bag lady. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Yes.
you're talking
Mhm.
about. Bringing all
Right.
that baggage with
All
you,
that baggage. Yeah.
all that baggage with you, and then having clarity about what you want in a relationship. That I did not have either. Had no
Mm-hmm.
idea. I knew that the expectation was for us to get married and have children and live together and
Mm-hmm.
have a happy long life together, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
how do you achieve that? That's
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
conversations we never had, right? I never had
Mm-hmm.
that growing up. I
Yeah.
never
Same.
really had a relationship conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the expectation, right? To get into these
Yeah.
relationships with people, with men, and voila, they know what I want. Well, how is that when I don't know
Mm-hmm.
myself, right?
Right.
So,
Now,
uh,
question, what age would you say that you realized all of this? Because some people, again, they think you get married and it's just supposed to all happen, right? And some people also look at their age and say, well, I should have known this, but it's too late now because now I'm 57. And for me, it's like, as long as you, and same thing with business, if you have that vision, that idea, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to learn who you are, so that
isn't
when
that
that next relationship starts or that business has to start, there's nothing that would stop you because you understand the assignment. So,
exactly?
what age were you when you kind of
Oh,
discovered
girl,
or
I
rediscovered? And
wasn't
we're going to
young.
talk about rediscovering.
I wasn't young, that's for sure. I had to
Yeah.
be, oh, I'll admittedly say after my second marriage failed. After my
Right.
second
Right.
marriage failed, I had to come to a realization, have a come to Jesus with myself and say,
Right.
like, okay, and all transparency, I married the same man twice. So
Right.
clearly I
Yes.
had an expectation that things could be better,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But how you gonna make something better when you're not acknowledging what's wrong?
There you
So
go. Say that again. Could you say that again?
how you gonna make something better when you haven't acknowledged what's wrong, right? And
Exactly.
some
Exactly.
of us women, we want to blame the men. We want to just, make them the scapegoat. Come on, stop the
Mm-hmm.
madness. It's not the
Yeah.
men always. And you know what?
Yeah.
And there are some rare occasions where it really isn't the man at all. It's you, the woman.
It's so true. It's so
right?
true.
It's you,
So
because he
true.
comes in there trying to make, okay, baby, what you need, and you think he's a patsy when he's not a patsy. He's just trying to make you happy, whatever it takes to
Exactly.
make you happy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in understanding that, understanding that I needed to do the work
Yeah.
and take ownership for what it is I
Mhm.
desire. You cannot
Yeah.
desire a great relationship when you don't know what it takes to have a great relationship.
Yeah.
You
That is
can't,
so true.
it's impossible.
So
How
true.
can you say, well, I want this marriage of XXX? Well, how do you achieve XXX?
Right.
Have
Yeah.
you talked to someone who has had a successful marriage?
Exactly. Exactly.
Have you asked them what
Exactly.
that looks like? I don't remember who the couple is. Every time I can see their faces, he was a very famous actor, and so was she. They both were actors, but nonetheless, they were having a conversation with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. And this
Okay.
was years back, and I think it was Jada asked the woman, said, she was asking for some advice, marital advice, and so the woman said to Jada, "How long have you and Will known each other?" And I don't
Mhm.
know Will and Jada, so I'm just using this because I saw it.
Right.
So be
Right.
clear. Um, and I think her answer was 20 something years. And the lady said, "Girl, you don't even know him yet."
Yeah.
Now this
So true.
couple, this older couple, they have been married nearly 67 years.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and she's saying at 20 some years, you don't even know
You don't
him
know
yet.
him.
What does that say?
Yeah.
Right? And I was
Exactly.
like, wait,
Yeah.
but then it hit me because we're ever evolving. We should
Every
be
day.
growing.
Exactly. Hopefully we
How I
are.
was right, how I was 5 years ago, I should not be the
Yeah.
same today. I should be
Exactly.
better. So
Yeah.
my partner will now need to understand, oh, okay, she has grown. And I need to understand, oh, he has grown. And now learn that new person that
Yeah.
intertwines with the older person, but is a better
It's a
version
different
of
level.
that.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was probably in my, oh my goodness, I'm gonna say my 40s.
In your 40s.
In
Okay.
my 40s, because
Yeah.
my second marriage concluded when I was in my 40s, mid 40s, and that's when
Mhm.
I had to start doing some self-examination. So
Yeah. And
how
really
did
seeing what we sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
how did that impact me in other areas of my life? Same thing, knowing who I am.
Hmm.
So when I go into these collaborations, or when I get a new job or new
Right.
friends, new interactions, knowing who I am at
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
times in everything
Yeah.
matters, because then
Yeah.
you can say, no. Why? Because you know where you are, you know
Yeah.
what you're trying to do, and you're not feeling that, right?
Right. Yeah.
You're like, you know what, this is an amazing idea, but I'm going to bow out and give someone
Hmm.
else an opportunity to
And
seize
that's
this.
knowing who you are. Yeah. For
Exactly.
sure. For sure. And
Exactly.
it's so funny we're talking about this specifically because I had a conversation this week today. Yeah, this week. And a statement was made that women don't know what they want. And I said, what makes you say it was a male? What makes you say that? He said, women don't know what they want. And I was asked to visit a site. They're not paying me to give them the site, but it's blackdemographics.com. And when you see the marriage statistics, Black women have such a high rate of whether it's divorce, separation, because I think we there's a missing piece to the puzzle, and it's really, I think it boils down to know who we are, honestly. And like you said, if we can understand ourselves when we get into these relationships, things would kind of flow, because you would know what you want, that love language. You would be able to affirm things that you want. And then when it comes to even business, walking into a meeting, walking into a room, a
Right.
collaboration, or whatever it is, you know who you are. So there's nothing that can deter, what you have planned or whatever it is. So let's talk about even now your business. So going through this mid 40s, you kind of finding yourself learning who Karon is. How did business come into play? And how did you know? I believe you did have a full-time job, but then how
Yeah.
did that kind of change in this season?
So around the time of started to take ownership of who I am and my own shortcomings and doing the work to clean up the garbage, right? I
Right.
was exploring life and just I was walking through my home. I was home alone. I think my son was off at college at the time, the youngest one. And I happened to be just looking out my window and I said to myself, there's got to be more.
Yes.
There's got to be more. Because
Yeah.
life wasn't bad. Everything was good,
Hmm.
but my spirit just wasn't being satisfied.
Yeah.
From the moment I said that, everything that has happened in my life has
Hmm.
landed me where I am today as an
Wow.
entrepreneur.
Wow.
Did
Wow.
I think I would be an entrepreneur then when I made that statement? Absolutely not. Because 2 years later, I relocated from Florida to Atlanta. Two
Okay.
years, exactly 2 years almost from that. But when you ask for more, you don't know how it's going to show up.
Oh yeah. I'm experiencing that right now.
You don't
Yeah.
know how it's going to show up. That's how come when we ask for things, we must have clarity. I did
Oh
not
yeah.
know what I was saying when I
Hmm.
said, well, if there's more, I want to experience more.
Yes.
I wasn't very precise in that statement.
Yeah. Oh
Do I
man.
regret what I've experienced? No, because of me doing the work
Hmm.
and becoming a business owner and becoming a best-selling author, becoming a motivational being, well, presenting. I've always been a motivational speaker, but
Hmm.
presenting as a motivational speaker, having clients that I serve, and all of that. I know everything I've done, experienced, and learned prepared me for such a time as this.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
don't even know, I know what I want to do. I want to travel the world, continue to do what I'm doing, but even have greater impact. Um,
Yes.
so that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm
It's
looking
coming. We
forward.
got some cities lined up and countries lined up, and I'm
Oh,
excited for. Oh
hello.
yeah. I
So yes, all
already
of
told
those
my
are
son. I told him fall in love with aeronautics because we're gonna have a private jet and we got some plans. So
yes, indeed. All of that, everything I've experienced, the highs and the lows and the in betweens,
yes,
all prepared me for such a time as this. And you got to be willing, though, y'all. You got to be
yeah,
willing to go do the work and
yes,
go through, go through those different experiences, looking
yeah,
for greater, looking for
yeah.
more, looking to evolve, looking to expand and elevate. So,
Mhm.
yes.
I love that. I love that. So now we know that you're an author, 2 times bestseller, Amazon
Mhm.
bestseller. So what was the vision in regards to becoming an author, or did you see it in all of this more that God has blessed you with?
No.
What did that look like? What inspired
So,
you?
each of my books, and even I have another one that will be coming up soon. They just happened. To be frankly honest, they just happened. Yes, those are the two books right there. The first one was a children's book, The Power of Positive Self Talk Affirmations for Children. That one came about because I have such a heart for words, empowering
Right.
words, right? That's
Yeah.
hence the Affirmation Whisperer. That
Hmm.
all kind of evolved during that period when I said there's got to be more. The
Yes.
using words to empower myself, that all
Yes.
came about the same period. And I started to think about the experiences I had in life and how the aftermath of those experiences could have been different had those around me knew about how to speak well about yourself, because I
Hmm.
went through a very extended period of having no self esteem. So, being a
Okay.
big people pleaser because I had no self esteem. So, whatever they wanted me to
Right.
do, I was trying to do it. Why? Because I had no
Yeah.
self esteem, no trust in myself. So, I'm
Right.
thinking, man, I know the experiences, what happened. But what if I had people around me that reminded me that I'm still beautiful? I'm
Yeah.
still courageous. So I said, I bet you a book like that would be great for children. And there went that
Beautiful.
journey of the
Yeah.
birth of that book. Not long after that book, literally about a year after that book, I thought about my journey. Life Rediscovered came to life
Mm-hmm.
because, we have journals, but we don't have journals where it really prompts us to do things, prompts
Right.
us to think about things, prompts us to write about ourselves. So my journal, it's a 90-day journal. I do recommend people taking it for the full 90 days, but you can break it up and use it any way you like. But my journal is a tool that you absolutely can use in rediscovering who you are, hence knowing
Yeah.
yourself. Knowing
Yes.
yourself. You were mentioning earlier about, gosh, the thought escapes me. I'll go back to it later. But oh, this was it. I was thinking when as you were talking about knowing yourself, we go through life with these caps on. We go through life of being a wife, a mom, working
Mm-hmm.
for somebody, a caregiver of somebody. So it's no wonder we get lost in all of that and don't know who we
Yes.
are, right? So
Right.
life discovered, ideally, it's for that woman who has realized, wait, I need to rediscover who I am or learn about the new me. So that book
Mm-hmm.
came to life, and I have a master
That's so
class coming
beautiful.
class too. So those two, and I didn't have a plan. Were they like, oh yeah, next year I'm going to do this book, next year I'm going to do that?
Right.
No, they just happened.
Your
That's
plans.
it.
It was ordered. It was ordered, and you tapped in. That's
It's
beautiful, and that's an encouragement. I mean, sometimes we don't know what tomorrow holds, right? But going back to the beginning, we know whose we are, and we know He holds tomorrow. So
exactly.
sometimes even those experiences as a
Yeah.
child, yeah, we experience these things, and sometimes we don't understand why. And then to
Exactly.
know that, what, if I had somebody to encourage me, if I had somebody to speak these kind words to me, I may have turned out different. I may have chosen a different partner. I may have went to a different school or chose a different career. So it's the blessing that, I would say God really ordered your steps to
Yeah.
publish these books, and now you're doing workshops and you're doing mastermind classes, and it's lovely to see. It's really,
Yeah.
really lovely to see. um we're going to wrap up soon, but I'm really enjoying just getting to hear your story and how this journey, again, it doesn't even matter your age. Like, my encouragement, and you'll encourage the people before we end, but my encouragement to anyone hearing, it doesn't matter when you start, whether it's in your 20s, your 30s,
Exactly.
your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, or 70s. I mean, you
It
can do the
doesn't matter.
research. Some of these people, these top names that we know, they started late, what we call late, right? As long as you start, you can be a success. And it
Mhm.
doesn't matter who don't like you, who likes you, who's following you. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
That's really my encouragement. So with all that has already been done, what are your hopes and aspirations for the future, both personal and professionally? Now, mostly women watch this, but sometimes guys do. So guys, be single. All right. But there are certain requirements. I'm just throwing that out there. And how do you envision making an impact in the coming years?
So I envision myself, my brand, the Affirmation Whisperer. I am really looking forward to that brand growing. In
Yes.
one way or the other, I don't have an idea of what that will be, but I am looking for it to grow and make even impact because I understand the importance of us choosing our words carefully. So I am looking for that to grow. Personally, and well, let me stick with professionally to
Mm-hmm.
for my to continue to retain clients. Being a coach, I'm looking to, yeah, more women to coach so I can
Yeah,
show them what I did and let them take what I did and customize it for themselves so
I
that
love
they
it.
can reignite their lives to do things. I'm
Ripple
looking to
effect.
get on stages around the world and
Yes, and
share
you
with
will.
women. Yeah, around. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm saying it, looking forward to it intentionally because I expect it to be. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward
Yeah.
to getting on more stages, signing books, having book signing events around the country.
Yeah.
Looking forward to jet setting all across the world to do different things, to collaborate
Yeah.
with yourself and others that I have met and those I haven't met yet, so that we can continue to spread the good word about it's never too late, just as you just said. We just have to have the
Hmm.
desire.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. At 2:08 every day, my alarm goes off to pray for the nations. And this was something our pastor asked us to do last year around, I think it was around Thanksgiving. So he said, "Can everyone at 2:08 just pray for the nation, whether you were born in another country as I was, or even the country that we're in now, or pray for your city." And my prayer, and I mean, you just said it, is to go to the nations, go global. So I already know that Trinidad is going to meet Karon Fayerweather, right? And they're going to welcome you, and you're going to eat roti and doubles and all the things, because the world needs to hear it. Because some people don't even understand what affirmations are. And I
That's
know
right.
we're wrapping up, but I also want you to just touch a little on the power of affirmation, the power of self-talk. And it's not just what we call, we talked about it, woo-woo, and it's not magic, but it's magical. I mean, I remember again being in a space with you, and every day in 2023, I want to say out of 365 days, maybe 360 days, I wrote the words, I ask, I seek, I knock, I'm ready. And in January 2024, God opened a door that I wasn't expecting, and I didn't know, me saying those words, not that I didn't believe it, but I didn't know what I was ready for. Could have been a new job, could have been a relationship, could have been another apartment, a bigger home, whatever it was. But I knew saying those words, something was about to happen. And it
Yeah,
happened. And I didn't expect it to happen. And I didn't want to question God, like, is this for me? I paused. It was a job opportunity, very flexible. And I'm like, you know what? I said yes, like on the call, yes. I did ask for certain things, but it was just God's favor, and affirmations is beautiful and scripturally. And I use scriptures a lot because it's in the word. It's in the
yes,
word.
yeah.
We have not because we ask not. So I'm going to continue asking, seeking, and knocking, and I know doors are going to open. So we're going to plan for Trinidad eventually. I met two people from Kenya. I'm going to introduce you to them eventually, and we're going to go Kenya. We're going to so many places. So I'm just excited. So yeah, the future's coming. The future's coming.
So affirmations. The first thing that comes to mind as you were asking is this: death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
That passage, more than any, resonates with me. It's with my journey of speaking well about myself, speaking well
Yeah.
about others.
Yeah.
I know that scripture, that passage is not talking on physicalness, my
Right.
physicality, my
Yeah.
spiritualness, right? And how I speak to myself, my mental capacity. Death and life
Yeah.
lie in my tongue. So I'm thinking, thought to myself, well, okay, all right, death and life. So I prefer life. So how am I going to speak better about myself? And hence affirmations. And yes, there are some people that think they are woo, and I absolutely love having conversations with people who think I do, because I can awaken them. I have an opportunity to share
Yeah.
with them so they can awaken themselves to
Yeah.
really what we're talking about here when we say affirmations.
Hmm.
They are words that have absolutely no power if you don't believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
They are not a magic trick, as you said,
Hmm.
but they are
Hmm.
absolutely magical. I started out with some very simple but powerful affirmations. And why were they powerful? Because they impacted me in such a way. One of them were, I am capable of anything that I am equipped to do.
Beautiful.
I
Hmm.
am capable. I am capable.
Yeah.
I think I started out with just I am capable, and then I started to be a little more specific with it. And what is it that I'm capable in? Because then, as I started to say I am capable, I started to recognize my strengths and my
Yes.
weaknesses.
Yeah.
So I began to build my affirmation. It became a little more wordy. When we know how to speak well about ourselves, and I say this from the core of my being,
Hmm.
when we know how to speak well about ourselves, we can get through anything.
That's right. Yeah.
When it feels like your world is coming to a screeching halt, because you have breath, you have life. And because you have
Yes.
life, you can continue on one step at a time. Those
That's right.
words I've said to myself in the midst of, I have no idea what I'm going to do right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said those words to myself because I have life. I have another opportunity.
That's right.
So speaking these words to myself to remind me of who I am and whose I am, and that no matter what is going on externally,
Mm-hmm.
internally, I have what
Yes.
I need.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
my responsibility to speak those words because thoughts become words, words become actions. What am
Actions.
I
That's
saying
right.
to myself internally?
Mm-hmm.
You know how people come to us and give us a compliment? How they
Mm-hmm.
say, "Oh my gosh, this, that about you, this, that." Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as soon as
Mm-hmm.
they leave your presence, that energy went with them because you don't truly
Mm-hmm.
believe what
You
they
know.
just
Yeah.
said to you.
Yeah. You know,
You
it's
don't
so funny. I watched the I think it was Christmas. There was a movie like that. Um Once upon a time, the little boy believed in Santa, and Santa didn't come the night he thought he was coming, which would have been, of course, Christmas Eve or whatever. He left the milk and cookies, and the little boy ended up eating the milk and cookies. He grew up just not believing. He had children, and things were just not going right. And the daughter one day was like, Dad, you used to believe. And he was like, Santa's fake. And long story short, in order for Christmas to happen, he had to believe. And he had to go back and remember that child boy. And he's like, you know what? I remember, let's say faith, that faith that I had as a child. Now I think I'm able to have that faith again. And it started to
yes,
snow. Gifts fell out of the sky. And it was Christmas, you know? And sometimes we just have to believe.
you
We
do.
have to
You
believe. Even when you
absolutely
don't
do.
understand, you have to believe.
You
That
and
was
I have a
really
friend in
encouraging.
common. We have a friend in common that she was going through a really tough time in life.
Hmm.
And she stated that she would speak well about herself even when she didn't believe it or feel it
Right.
because she understood that in time, those words that she's saying are going to take root in her. And
Yes.
as they take root and start to grow and blossom out of her, so
Yes.
there was her growth. There was her words changing, her energy changing, her
Yes.
smile returned. All of that
Yes.
happened for her because she kept speaking it. Because I'm a firm believer in what you think you will speak and what you speak you will do.
Yes.
If you're
Yeah.
telling yourself that you're courageous, that you have peace, you have joy, the more you tell yourself that, you're not going to allow anyone to tell you anything different.
Right.
You're not going to allow it. Why? Because you have rooted yourself in that. You have peace. You have joy. You
Hmm.
are protected. You are provided. Your source has provided the resource. You
Hmm.
see what I'm saying? This because I'm telling
Oh,
myself what
definitely.
is for me. So words matter. Words matter. And don't know
Yes.
I don't want to hear no sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie from the
Oh, they
pit
hurt.
of hell. That's a
They hurt.
lie from the pit of hell. They hurt. I think that
They sure
person
do.
probably was demonic that came up with that because that's what words don't hurt. But you know what? I said, in all honesty, it probably was just a way to convince people not to buy into what others are saying, which is
Yeah.
true. Don't buy into what
Yeah.
other, even those that are throwing praise on you. Don't buy
Hmm.
into it because you got to believe in yourself first. Because when that same person who is
Definitely.
no longer praising you is now blasting you, you got to be able to stand on
Hmm.
your own because you know who you are. You know what
That's
your
right.
capabilities are, but you don't know that until you start doing the work and
That's
start
right.
talking to yourself better. Even my
Yeah.
children, I don't know. My children say, "Oh, I'm so stupid." What? How, hello? What'd you say? What'd you say?
Uh-huh.
What'd you say?
Hmm.
Can you say it again? Oh, mom, I mean that. I mean that. I didn't think you did. Reminding
Hmm.
everyone around me, your words matter. Cliffy, I cannot say it enough to people. I can't write it enough to people for people to
Yeah.
truly understand just how important what you say
Yeah.
to yourself impacts your entire world. It
Yeah.
impacts your entire
Yeah.
world because even you, when you say, I ask, you said, I seek, I ask, I knock, I'm ready.
Hmm. Hmm.
You reminding yourself that I'm seeking, I'm
Hmm.
asking, I'm knocking at
Hmm.
the door, Lord, and I'm ready. You're telling
Yeah.
yourself that because in preparation for what God already
Hmm.
had for you, But
Oh
had
yeah.
you not repeated those words to yourself to be prepared to give that immediate yes, you're like, oh wait, I don't know about this, right? But
Yeah.
you were already preparing yourself, and if
I was
you
in that
do,
waiting season. Yeah.
yes, in that way.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, that's another
That's a
conversation.
whole nother topic.
Another conversation. But because you were speaking well about yourself and to yourself, when that opportunity presented itself, you were in the right headspace to say yes to
Yeah.
what God had for you and moving forward with what you need to do. But you got to
That's
start
right.
in your head, in your heart, and then what you say out of your mouth.
That's beautiful. And I hope you guys are listening and taking notes. We're going to play a little game. This is, I call it what you heard. What you heard. So I'm gonna say a word, a random word, and you're gonna fill in the blank. Whatever comes to mind first.
Okay.
We'll do about 4 words. All right. So here we go. Affirmation.
Ooh, it is my responsibility to speak well about myself.
Family.
Love them so much. Love them so
Okay.
much and want them to be safe and protected.
Inspiration.
Want to be that to everyone I meet.
Okay. And priority.
I am my first priority and I'm going to act like it. And I am
There
acting
you
like
go. I love that. I'm gonna put up your where they can find your ebook, and this is currently available on Amazon. So ebook and paperback, Life Rediscovered. It's a 90-day journal. Like Karan mentioned, you can do it 90 days. You can, take breaks. You can
it.
have
Yep.
life group and do it. And then there's a power of positive self-talk. That's affirmation for children. And the website, you can find it on the bottom, the affirmationwhisperer.com/products hyphen lists. And
Yes.
we have one event coming up. This episode would be launched prior to that event, so I'd like you to share that, and we'll put the information in the description so you can register and be a part of that event. And there's a third book that you mentioned that is going to be published soon.
Yes, I do. The book. Let me talk about that one first because it is something that's very dear to my heart because it's for graduates, high school graduates. So it's a book of 100 affirmations for high school graduates preparing to do whatever they're preparing to do, whether it's go to college,
Mhm.
go to the military, travel the world, hang out at home and just work, whatever you're preparing to do. This book really will help high schoolers make that transition into
Love
adult
that.
life. So Go Be Great is the name of
Go
the
be
book. Go
great. I
Be
love it.
Great. I
I'm
love
so
that
excited for you.
title, right? Just go
Yeah.
be great no matter what you're pursuing. Even if you decide to do something different and you change your mind, go be great in that. In this
That's
book,
right.
oh, can't wait for that one to come out. It's coming out very
Yeah.
soon. And then of
Yeah.
course, I did have a February date for this, but it was dropped in my spirit this evening to change it to March because March is Women's Month, right?
Ah,
So
okay.
I'm gonna change it to March. Probably beginning mid March. I'm having a master class for my 90-day journal. What it is simply 2.5 hours to show you how to optimize using the journal to serve you best. Some feel I've had some feedback that they feel a little overwhelmed because they're not quite sure how to use it because it's a different kind
Okay.
of journal. So I'm
Right.
going to get that 2.5 hour master class is showing you how to utilize that book optimally so you can get the best out of it for you. So those are the two newest events I have coming up right now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Congrats, Karan. I'm so proud of you. And
Thank
I
you.
know God has his hand on you and he's making room. And I need you to make room because something even greater is coming. And it's going to be a partnership. Y'all going to do work together. I see it now. But it was a pleasure, sharing this stage
Absolutely.
with you and having you here at hashtag Her Chosen Story. And I
Yes.
mean, again, you inspired me because, again, this is a new season. And last season, it was hashtag Her Story. And on our podcast, we didn't talk about the podcast. So we also share a
Oh, yes,
podcast. You can talk about, just mention what we do, when they can find us online. And
I will. I'm going to grab the link to it so you can put that up if you like really quick because I happen to have it up already.
okay.
So I was doing something else with it. So yeah, we have a podcast, Clivia, myself, Clivia, and another amazing woman, Marcy Trueheart. We do a podcast weekly. New episode drops every week. I think it's on Friday. So make
Mhm.
sure you go to YouTube and subscribe so that you can get the alerts when we have these amazing, powerful conversation, women
Yeah.
centric, but men can gain something from it too. I am just so honored to have these women to support me in this journey of sharing affirmations in such a different way, because we have
Yeah.
discussion first. We talk about the gamut. There is no bars to what we talk about, but we close out with affirmations and then a scripture, because we are faith based. I'm not ashamed of that. I share that very
Mhm.
easily, that we are faith based. And this is our way of showing the world that when you're faith based, you can show well to the world. You can
Yes.
speak a language to the world that they still understand, but you're sharing the love of God with them at the same time. So
Yes.
that's
And
what
I
I
love
have
that.
coming up now soon.
Yes. Yeah. And again, I'm just super, super excited. And we'll get the new date for the master class, the
Yeah,
new release of the book that's coming, and all the things. Again, each episode for the AM affirmation space drops every Friday at 7 a.m. The
yeah.
link, I'll put it up one more time so you guys can subscribe, put the bell on. And again, this is just God ordained. I remember just being in the back seat, being, you guys can't see the stage, but there's an actual stage that we wait on. I would have been on that stage. And I'm just gonna share this real quick. I know I said we're wrapping up, but the platform we were on, there were, let's say, levels. So there was the waiting, or what was it? Just listening. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna not preach a message on that, but I'm gonna have a show on that, just listening. And I listened for maybe a year, meaning I wasn't vocal. And not to say I couldn't speak, not to say I didn't have a voice, but I felt, there was like a fear or whatever it was trying to silence me. And I'm like, no. And
Hmm.
Karon one day said, I see you guys at the bottom, just listening. Feel free to come up. You don't have to speak, but just come up, just be in the space. And I decided that day, God, I'm going to do this. And I did. And it took me a little while. I don't think I spoke the same day, but it's been life changing ever since. I mean, the people that I've met through Karon, and I met Karon through Shayla, and God just ordains things, man. And I'm just super, super grateful, so grateful,
Yeah.
that we met. And again, we're doing
Yeah.
so much together now. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose. It's really
Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah.
So
I am
any
very
last
honored.
words for our audience?
Well, let me say this first. I want you to know that I'm very honored to have met you in the space that we initially met. And
Mhm.
I know that it is God ordained, because the day
Yes.
that I said the words for in that space, you just don't tell people to come to your stage and sit and be
Right.
quiet. In that space, you just didn't do that. And
Yeah.
that day I was moved, and in that space I literally moved the way that I was directed to move. You know that I
Yes.
didn't. Sometimes I would say it, sometimes not. But that day, because I felt
Mhm.
in my spirit, I said, "This woman has a voice. She needs to be heard." And I don't think I may have made that announcement maybe a couple of times after that, but it wasn't a regular announcement that I made inviting
Yeah.
anybody to come to the stage,
To come
right?
up. Yeah.
But because of that, I've met an amazing individual, and I'm so honored to be in the same spaces with you. We have done
Yeah.
lots together. We have much
Yeah.
more to do together. We have other
Yeah.
people to bring on board to do this, and I'm so
Yeah.
very honored to be a guest on hashtag Her Chosen Story.
I'm so humbled.
It's a secret, y'all. I call her the chosen one. I really do. Uh,
And that's why I added the chosen. I forgot to say, that's why I added chosen. I'm like, you know what? I think, and you helped me. You remember we were trying to think of what
mhm.
makes more sense, and hashtag her chosen story was birth. And I'm so appreciative. I'm
Yeah.
humbly thankful.
Yeah.
So
And I
thankful.
appreciate your audience as well. Please feel free to reach out to me on my website, or you can go to YouTube. I'm on all the socials, so you can find me there. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to meeting you in some way or fashion so that we can continue this conversation. Again, Clivia, thank you for allowing me to be in your space.
you're welcome. All right, guys, that was Karon Fayerweather. Karon, thank you so much again for being here. You guys, this is not the last time you'll see her. You'll see her again, and you'll always see us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So again, Karon, thank you so very much for joining me tonight.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. So, guys, this was a lovely episode of hashtag Her Chosen Story. Special guest, the Affirmation Whisperer, Karon Fayerweather. I mean, we should have been live in regards to being in person in the same room, which would come, but I did not want to not, have Karon on in our early part of our season. And I really hope you guys were able to learn something, write something down. If you have questions, if you want to be part of the masterclass, to get the journal and be part of that masterclass, definitely reach out. You can reach me, or you can reach Karon. I'm going to just put back up the 2 current books that she has, which is available on Amazon. So you can type her name or actually go directly to the website. It's actually better that way. theaffirmationwhisperer.com/products-lists. And that's her 2 books. And again, there's a 3rd one on the way, and we're super excited for that. Again, this is hashtag Her Chosen Story with yours truly, Clivia. More episodes to come. And I did make an announcement that I'm going to actually have some guys on as well for them to share their story. We're going to give the brothers a chance to speak, because we know they have a few things to say. All right. So again, have a good evening. Remember, you are chosen for such a time as this. Have a good one.